Welcome to Conversational Currency, Maryland's top small business talk show. I'm your host, Shadidi Laser. Ladies and gentlemen, communication is a superpower, and conversational currency examines the value and importance of social skills for business in a digital era told through the lens, the stories of today's business and thought leaders. Now, through the story of our guests and current events, we will answer the question: if you were able to say the right words in the right moments to every man or woman in a business setting, how different would your quality of life be? Now, in this segment, we will be discussing building credibility online for profit, fun, and influence with a global credibility expert who just happens to be the author of over 60 books and has interviewed 500 thought leaders and experts on the topic of credibility. His work has shook up Silicon Valley, influenced NASDAQ listed companies, and he has published over 750 books. I present to you TEDx speaker, Mr. Mitchell Levy. How are you, sir?
Okay, that's the coolest intro. Anyone has taken that bio and updated, and your voice resonates so loudly. I love it. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Now, let's jump right into the subject matter at hand. We live in an on-demand society where people are searching for reputation in order to make decisions, whether in a hiring context or in a business context. Can you please share with us why in today's on-demand society, credibility is an asset that every business leader must harness and possess?
I'm going to say every business leader and every human, because if you don't have credibility, you don't have clients, you don't have a business, you don't have friends. So the definition of credibility that came out of the interviews, it's the quality in which you are known, liked, and trusted. By being known, it's not that they know of you, that they actually know you. And so what's really interesting, and there are 10 skill sets associated with credibility. And why is it important? People need to quickly, in a world where everyone has a camera and a microphone and your competition is around the world at different price points, they need to quickly see you. They need to quickly see how you have value, but before they even get to know you, they need to trust you. And so part of it is you need to demonstrate that you can solve the problems that they have or address the issues they want to work with. And then they got to see you. They have to get to know you. They have to understand that you have the intent and commitment to do the right thing, that you're a servant leader, that you have internal integrity as well as external integrity. And so you need to get to that point before they want to actually pick up the phone, put a Zoom call, or talk to you even, or even spend more time learning about you.
Excellent. Now, in order to personalize the journey of building credibility, now within your Silicon Valley career, you've launched over 25 businesses and you've had 4 publishing companies. You've had a successful career, but what areas in your personal journey did you struggle with before you discovered and mastered and harnessed the power of credibility?
Well, first, I'm going to say it's over 20 companies. It might be over 25, but we'll say over 20 companies. You know, each step along the way, as you're growing and learning, you learn and do different things. I've done 2 TED Talks. The first TED Talk, I actually talked about the fact that my first real male business mentor, and that was out of business school, he taught me how to be hedonistic, narcissistic, self-centered. And, you know, it turns out when I was in the business world, I was not authentic. I thought I was being authentic, but every time somebody asked me a question, I would answer the question the way I thought my boss wanted to be heard versus the way I wanted to hear it. So one of the things I learned when I first started my consulting business, there was an e-commerce consulting business in 1997, which is, by the way, .com days, great time to start an e-commerce consulting business. When the first client who asked me if they liked the idea they shared, and I said, I really think it's stupid. I would never have said that in the corporate space. And the client looked back at me and said, really, that's interesting. Tell me more. So I think the skills that I'd want to impart on others, you need to be you. You need to have internal and external integrity, vulnerability, and authentic to be who you are, not try to be the person that you're talking to.
Excellent insight. Now, you have an interesting methodology for helping business leaders get to the point in how they serve their customers. You call it the CPOP, or the customer point of pain. Now, let's put the CPOP to the test, live and direct, and take me through the exercise so that our audience can see the CPOP in action.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for queuing it up. So just a little bit of context. In interviewing over 500 people, 98% could not articulate their CPOP. They could not articulate who they serve and the pain point they serve in 10 words or less without clarity. That's 98%. I go as far as to say your CPOP is your purpose. So 98% of people cannot clearly and quickly articulate their purpose. So what I would typically say, we'll start with a CPOP is less than 10 words, and it has two components. Who do you serve? So how do you describe that? And what is, it could either be what pain point you serve or an aspiration point, right? So who typically do you serve, Shadid?
Entrepreneurs and experts.
Okay. And what was interesting when you talked about the audience, you said the audience were typically those people who were 40 to 60 who were looking to take, is that typically your audience, or is this just the audience here?
Let's use for this example, yes, 40 to 62.
Okay. And then what problem do you solve? Why are they tuning in? I assume it has to do with how you describe yourself up front, but why are they tuning in? What is the issue that you really support them with?
The issue I help them to support them with is the monetization of their reputation.
Ooh. So in essence, what's happening is how far along are they in the journey? Yeah, sorry.
Their frustration is that they've stood on the stages, they've published the books, they've worked in their field for 10, 15, 20 years, and they watch other people who seem to have skipped the line and have some magic formula, and they wonder, why not me? I'm better than this person. I'm world-class at what I do, but my bank account does not equal my love in my community, my reputation, so on and so forth.
Now, by the way, we for those watching, we didn't plan this ahead of time. And I know we've talked, and we may have done this before, but I have something that's 4 words for you. And here's what's interesting. So I'm going to give pretext before I share the 4 words. In today's world, when you start people, when they say, who are you, what do you do? And people start with I or we. The problem with that is when I looked at the interviews and talked to people, there's a class of people that as soon as you open your mouth the first time and you said I or we, they think you're going to sell them. And they put on, just like their ad blockers on websites, they have people blockers. They have salespeople blockers. So they may not hear the next 30 seconds. So the benefit of a CPOP, a customer point of pain, is that you're basically saying, I work in this location. I work in this expertise. Because the real benefit is you're actually in 1 to 3 seconds, you're kind of asking for permission to say more. Right? So the best thing that can happen is somebody goes, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. Now, here's where it's really cool. They may be, if you can articulate in 1 to 3 seconds sort of that audience you serve and the pain point you address, you don't have to be speaking to your prospect. You could be speaking to a stakeholder of your prospect, a spouse, a loved one, somebody in the family, somebody who they're good friends with, where they've heard their friend, their family member say those words before. And they're going to be thinking to themselves, wait a second, I want to share you with my friend, but tell me more first. So I believe you said the following: experts not monetizing themselves.
Sums it up.
Now, you could, if you wanted to do it for this audience, you could find words like second career experts or experts over 40, right? I mean, if you wanted to be more, you don't need to be, because I actually think those 4 words work for any audience. And then depending on who you're working with, let's say somebody who's 40 or 50, you say, hey, you tell them about this concept. I talked with the global credibility expert. I've got this concept called a CPOP. Generally speaking, I serve, and if you could say it without saying the I serve. So generally speaking, there's an audience that I work with. Then you do a small second pause. Experts not monetizing themselves. And then, Shadid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, wow, that's interesting. Tell me more. And then how would you respond to that?
The whole shortening things down, now I have to take a step back. So experts not monetizing themselves, and how sounds great, tells me more. This is tough. Well, we offer done for you and done with you services.
Love that. By the way, that's a good start. And actually, it's a perfect start. What I probably would add to that, we offer done with you and done for you services that, and then continue, allow you to monetize yourself through, and you could say 5 different techniques or 10 different techniques or whatever it is that you do. Once again, that would be a little bit more like your value proposition. Because if it's somebody who wants to recommend you, that's going to be enough.
Yes.
If it's somebody themselves, then they're going to say, oh, what are the techniques you use? Once again, and then you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to go into more detail.
Okay, let's take it from the top. Okay.
All right, Shadi, what's your CPOP?
Experts not monetizing themselves.
Man, I have so many people in my network that is what the issue they face. Shadi, tell me more.
We offer done for you services through our 9-step licensing process.
Perfect. So I like the brevity of that, but think about the tell me more as a 1-minute answer.
Okay.
Right? Because I've now given you permission to tell me more. I don't want 5 minutes, or I don't want 10 minutes. You ever get to a networking meeting and somebody says, what do you do? And 10 minutes later, you're like, oh my God, I got to go to the other side of the room, right? So what I would say, and this is part of what I did with the 500 interviews. I started off when I did the interviews, I was happy if it was 10 minutes long, the interviews. Nowadays, I do 5 questions in 5 minutes. So this first question, the CPOP, 1 to 3 seconds. And for you, by the way, I know you. I have a good feeling when I interact with you. I don't think we've done a CPOP before. If we did, we didn't come up with this because I can't forget this. So when I say tell me more, I'm kind of looking for you to go, oh, I'll give you an example. I did some work with a workforce development board. Their CPOP, robust employment in, and then fill in the blank. Robust employment in, and then in this case, it happened to be a particular county.
Yeah.
So the tell me more is we work with government and non-government organizations to educate our citizens to be better skilled so they could find quality jobs, and to provide for our our workforce or for our companies a adaptable, skilled employee base.
Mm-hmm.
And that, by the way, summarizes so much gobbledygook that's in most workforce development boards literature,
Yeah.
right? And you heard that, and you go, oh, by the way, I didn't really know what a workforce development board did before I got to run their retreat.
Yeah.
So for you, if I say, hey, what's your CPOP? And you go, experts not monetizing themselves, give me a 1-minute response. It could be 30 seconds, but give me enough so that I can satisfactorily recommend you to somebody else. And I feel confident. What you're doing in this case, you're building up trust. 9-step proprietary process is good, but that by itself doesn't give me enough trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, you know, you don't have to make it 5 minutes, right? But try it again if you don't mind.
Sure. So there's a time for money trap that exists with all experts and entrepreneurs, where if you don't find a way to earn money while you're asleep, you will work until you die. What we help our clients to do is to develop their knowledge into digital assets, which allows them to escape the time for money trap, which increases their time spent with the people and moments that matter. Once we develop their program, then we guide them into licensing to agencies, universities, and corporations to create recurring revenue and stabilize their business, monetize their knowledge, and help them live the life that they were destined to live.
So that gave me chills.
Thank you.
That's probably an answer you've given before in another area, or if not, if you just made that up. You've built trust in that. Now, if it was me and we were talking, I'm like, okay, what can you do for me? Right? That's the next question. If it's recommending somebody else, Shadid, how do I recommend you? Right? But it starts with me caring about you through your CPOP. Nice job.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So for those tuning in and those who struggle with articulating the gifts that they have, the transformation that they deliver, you have a 5-day challenge that is coming up. Please tell us more about it.
You know, it is what's interesting about any one tool set. We are a done for you book publisher. If I gave you a tool, that's great. But if you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to use your book, it's not going to help you as much. If I do a video with you and you have a 5-minute video where people get to know, like, and trust you, that's great. Except if you don't put it on your LinkedIn profile and in your website, it's not going to help. I give you a CPOP, which is actually truly your purpose. Now that I see you in all of our interactions, I now remember those 4 words, and that's your purpose in life. And what happens for some people is they run across the next expert who says, oh, no, that's not your purpose. You need to do something else. I now see you. So in the 5-day challenge, it is 5 days focused on you, not just at first. So when you sign up, we have a course. It's how to develop your CPOP course. It is 30 minutes long. So when you sign up for the challenge, you can actually enroll yourself quickly into this 30-minute course and come up with your CPOP. And then what happens is every day we do one more step. We do one more step. And so typically we do it live. I'm doing it with the guy who does both operations and new product development for the Pokemon company. Oh. So he knows how to scale. He's worked with really big entities. And we just do it together. And it's at 4 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And we don't sell anything. We make an offer on day 5. So it's there for you to learn and each step along the way. So what happens when people research you? What do they see? Because now that you have this CPOP, Shadid, what you need to do is now look at your websites, look at your LinkedIn profiles, look at your Facebook, look at your entities, and you now have a new lens. You now have a new compass to actually update all that information, you're not going to make a lot of changes. You present yourself really well. That said, when you now focus on experts not monetizing themselves, that needs to scream at you. If somebody gives 5 seconds to your LinkedIn profile, they need to see that, because it reinforces if they talk to you synchronously, now that you focused around your CPOP, or they see you asynchronously. And so what we do each day is we help you. So when people day one research you, or day two when they social media you, or when they go ahead and endorse you, or when they're actually seeing you day four, like how do you make the video so that it's compelling? And then most important, and this is something that's relevant for me, is how can you just be you? How can you show up as you? So day 5, how do you just show up as you and feel comfortable if people don't like you, that they're not your prospect? And that's okay. And I don't mean love or like. They may not like your service. That's okay. They may not be your prospect or customer today, but they could be tomorrow if you show up as you, and they get to know, like, and trust you. Or actually, the way it really works, they get to trust you first, which is what your CPOP and the Tell Me More does. They then get to know you, who you are as a human, and then they can decide if they like you.
Sounds like a challenge that is not only beneficial, but necessary with any human who's looking to advance their career, build their reputation online, and or run a successful business. And so the challenge will be taking place starting on September 6th. As Mitchell has mentioned, Monday through Friday. The link to join will be in the description for those who can hear my voice. That is bit.ly/cred challenge. That is CRED challenge. Bit.ly cred/cred challenge. Any final words for our audience, Mitchell?
I so enjoy every time I get to interact with you. And I'm just honored that I actually now know how to recommend you. It's not that I didn't know you before and didn't like you before and didn't have like every time you get on the phone, your presence is so powerful. It just feels good to be on a Zoom with you. But what I didn't know is who's going to run into my network that I need to recommend to you. And that makes me feel really comfortable. I'm so glad we did that. If for nothing else, I could send people your way.
Excellent. And referrals are the lifeblood of any business. So the fact that we went through the CPOP exercise, it actually has me excited to take a look at my websites through a new lens, or let's say with greater clarity and focus, because the experience is there and the track record is there and the case studies are there. But if people don't understand what you do and how it helps them, then you miss the bullseye every single time. And so you have the golden elixir for clarity and increased sales. And I thank you for that.
My pleasure. And by the way, what you do as a service is something that this needs to do, because it's a teachable skill. So let's take this offline and talk a little bit more.
Sounds like a plan. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been tuning in to Conversational Currency, where we discuss the value and importance of social skills for business in a digital era. You could have been anywhere in the world, but guess what? You were here with Mitchell and I, and for that, we appreciate you. Enjoy your day. Bit.ly/cred challenge. Join the challenge.